Hey everyone, it's Katie and Mike.
Hi,
Mike. Oh, you said hi. We just got out of Spider-Man Homecoming, which was stupid good.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
People who follow me on Twitter might know that I've become frustrated with Marvel as a company as of late. I want them to do good, and props to them. They've put out not just a solid movie, but like a really solid Spider-Man Peter Parker movie. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about like upcoming. I left the theater excited about an upcoming like whatever they do with Spider-Man next. Probably the MCU stuff, but I mean they're clearly gonna make all of the money this weekend. So they're clearly gonna do a sequel to this. But yeah, I'm really excited about like where they're gonna take the story next. It's stupid good.
This was just a fun movie. I was up for a fun movie.
It was really funny. Like it definitely connects to the MCU. I mean, literally the beginning of the movie is a flashback to right after the first Avengers movie, because as we find out, the villain of this, who is only vaguely called the Vulture towards the end, has direct connections to like his like villain origin is directly connected to what happens right after
the cleanup.
But like right after the attack on New York. So it's very clearly like, yeah, we are definitely in the MCU. This is definitely a thing that's happening, even though Sony's making it. And with that, then we also see it ties directly into the stuff with Civil War and Peter, through, it says a film by Peter Parker, and you find out that he just made, for his own eyes only, a video of his, like, adventures, fighting, like, Captain America and stuff, and with Civil War, in which you get to see a very excited Peter. Like, you meet him immediately just being like, I'm super excited to be here, you guys. Like, this is great. Which, again, I mean, it's so funny because later on, Tony gets on his case about responsibility, and it leaves you thinking, but Tony, you totally brought a kid to this thing. Like, you know that, right? You totally brought a child, a minor, into your big superhero fight. How is this responsible? It is like we have to all, and this is something that people were complaining about after or when Civil War came out. But it's still very much like when did you ever think this was a responsible thing for you to do as an adult man? But anyway, so he has this new suit, and he's super excited to join the Avengers, and Tony's like, well, no, you're not really in the Avengers right now, you're still a kid, and you're still having to learn, so just, like, go around your own neighborhood, you know.
Be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, they say that a few times, and I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty charming. Like, yeah, just, like, do that stuff, just don't do what I would do, and don't also do what I wouldn't do, because there's that middle ground.
That's where you work in.
Yeah, and
that's stuff from the trailers too.
Yeah. So, and Happy, who is Jon Favreau, I believe, who most people know is like a legit director who actually directed
of the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah. So he actually the first and the second. But he plays actually a kind of a bigger role than Tony does. As much as Robert Downey Jr. was in all the trailers, he's not in very much of this movie at all, which I think works to his benefit. But yeah, so Peter's going.
He's the guy that gets talked about probably the most.
He does.
Where's Tony? Hey.
Yeah. When Tony isn't on screen, we should be asking, hey, where's Tony? So Peter keeps calling Happy to tell him to inform him and be like of all the stuff he's doing. Like he helped a lady cross the street and then she bought him a churro, so that was kind of a nice day. He accidentally thought he was stopping someone from stealing a car. It turns out it was that guy's car, so he felt kind of bad about that.
That's
little things like that. Yeah. So he
stumbles onto some crooks using some superpower alien weaponry, and he stumbles onto basically the Vulture's weapons
whole thing. Yeah, and it's a fun. I mean, other people have said it already. This is one of the best Marvel villains, I think. Like this, honestly, and like the Kingpin, and maybe one of the other movie villains, but Michael Keaton really knocks it out of the park. And we actually said in that first scene when he's just like this everyday guy and he's doing this he's heading the cleanup crew after the fight in the first Avengers movie, and I whispered over to Mike, I'm like, this seems like Tim, because Tim is Mike's stepdad and he has very much the same persona, and then he immediately turns evil. Like, oh, this is his villain story. This is his villain origin right here. So he goes from being like a hardworking, a hardworking salt of the earth guy to straight up arms dealer. But yeah, Michael Keaton's really good in this. He has a really good presence. His tech is really cool. Like all of his weapons are really cool. Both when he's talking to his people and also like later on when he's menacing Spider-Man, really good. I was super pleased with how they handled it. And again, we have like this much older villain and this much younger villain, and they're both underestimated, which I think is kind of a cool
younger villain,
or younger hero. Sorry. So we have them, these two people facing off, and they both have similar problems, but on the opposite spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So Peter he's quit a few things, and he started being not as focused on school stuff because he's taking this Stark internship, which is actually just him being Spider-Man around town. But people have been noticing, and he ends up around the time that we start really seeing his everyday. His friend Ned finds out that he's Spider-Man, and which is a really funny scene, and he becomes kind of Spider-Man's wingman, where he's trying to help him out, even though
that really works well. Ned finds out super early, actually earlier than I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it gives Peter someone who he can talk against and not do these internal monologues that like some of the Raimi films did. Really, sort of like they did that a lot in the Raimi films.
Yeah, and I mean, it also helps that like he also has Happy to bounce off of, and Tony to an extent. But it is one of those things where, and it's really fun because then like in some ways Ned is the audience, because I have some of these questions. But there's also like, what's Hulk and Thor like? And I was like, oh, but he didn't get to meet them. It's so sad he didn't get to meet them. There's like really funny bits, and Peter is crushing on this girl named Liz, and Liz is also like super adorable. Someone, I forget who it was, someone on Twitter said, if you don't fall in love with Liz a little bit, I'm honestly, like, watching this movie, I don't know what's wrong with you, because she's this very, very smart, pretty mature, she's a senior, he's a sophomore, and they make that distinction, even though she's in gym class with him, so I don't know how that works. But but she's on the what is it? The trivia team, the decathlon. What is that?
Oh, it was decathlon. I'm tired.
Yeah. So there's Sorry, I'm looking through the cast list too.
Also, like one thing, I kind of walked into this movie thinking about, I kind of see the beats that they've laid in the trailers, and I think it's going to go X, Y, Z, and it actually sort of zigged on me and went some different directions.
Yeah,
I was really appreciating that.
It also had some really good pacing, like in terms of the 3-act structure, which you don't necessarily have to have, but for a movie like this, it really helps to have that 3-act structure, and there were some pretty specific beats that made the story flow really well, and there was a lot of room for character in this. It wasn't just all big fights. It all seemed to work towards Peter's, there's a whole want and need thing. Like, he wants to be an Avenger, like a full-time Avenger, but what he needs is to become a better hero in his own, like to grow into his own as a hero. And it's that sort of thing that I really like. It's the fact that they had a really good sense of the lesson they wanted Peter to learn, and then him actively getting to that goal by his own choices, So I liked that aspect of it. I like the fact that Peter's very sweet. It does absolutely help that he has multiple people to bump off of. He's not all alone in this. I like the fact that he has Ned, and like every once in a while he can kind of commiserate with Ned about how cool it is to be Spider-Man. It's not all a burden. I actually did like Aunt May, even though some of the jokes about her being hot were getting really old, because like there are certain like adult men that are talking about like how attractive she is, and when they go,
that was one of the weirder things that the thread lines that they just kept pushing.
I mean, I think it's a joke on the fact that people were saying it in the real world, but it was still kind of like, it was getting kind of annoying. I did like the fact that she even said, like, I don't like that Tony Stark, and it's like, good, because like let's not have that ship be a thing. But I liked her as a person. Like, I liked what they were doing with her, and there was this part where he's getting ready for the dance that is the homecoming dance that this movie is named for, and there's a little montage of her helping Peter learn how to tie his tie, and them like dancing to, like, her teaching him how to dance cool or whatever. It was, and like her helping him get a corsage. It was really sweet. That part was really sweet, and I really liked her in that role. I'm trying to think if there's anything before we get to spoilers. Can you think of anything else you wanted to specifically say? I mean, if you are a fan of the Marvel movies, I think it's definitely worth your time. If you've been actually, quite frankly, getting tired of some of the plot lines from the Marvel movies, I think this one actually works really well, and it's very funny. So if you need like just a really joyful kind of fun movie, I honestly would recommend this one. And if you don't know a ton about, like, if you haven't watched any of the Marvel movies in a while, I honestly think that you can still keep up with this one. You'll definitely find out about certain aspects of it, but if you know that, like, oh, Peter helped Tony in an earlier movie, and now this is him trying to become a hero in his own right after that, I think that's fine. Can you think of anything else?
It's a solid movie.
It's just really good.
I feel like we're not talking much about it, but I think we kind of also want to tiptoe around any spoilers.
There's like a specific twist that I did see coming. but I was whispering to Mike as like it was about to be revealed. I'm like, I know what this is. I know what it's gonna be because I figured it out. Ha 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 ha. And then when it happened, I was like, yes, I totally figured it out.
But then also, you totally thought what the end credits scene was. I
know, because I thought of a better one. There were 2 end credit scenes. The first one was like, I get it. It was setting up the next thing, and then the second one was just really fun. But I was also kind of hoping for something else in the second one, so that was kind of a bummer. But it still was like a really fun second, like, ending credits thing.
But it's clear that also Sony is sort of trying to set up
its own stuff, yeah.
Yeah. But also the sort of Spider-Man Sinister Six.
A little bit, yeah. So we'll have to see where that goes. Before I forget, let me double check if there's anything else I wanted to say.
His name's Todd Holland, right? Spider-Man?
Yes, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. He makes an excellent Peter. He is by far knocking it out of the park as far as anyone else who has played Peter before. I
mean, he looks like a child, which definitely helps. Like, he looks like a teenager, and he plays him as so earnest, which I think is the biggest thing. Like, this is a Peter Parker who just wants the help, and who just wants to be a hero, and who knows he can do all this stuff. So yeah, that was really good. And I want to give a shout out also to Zendaya, because she plays Michelle, basically one of the other female characters from the high school. She is so funny in this. She's really funny, and I appreciate the fact that we have both Liz, who is Peter's crush, and we have Michelle, who's like another classmate. And both of them, like, neither of them are villainized. That's the thing. Like, these 2 girls are both get to do, like, stuff in this and have personalities and be fun. And we are also, an ambulance is flying by, in case you can hear that. But I really like the fact that both of these girls are just really charming and like funny, and they're also the way that that all of Peter's classmates and peers were cast made it feel like a real New York high school, because it was a very diverse casting. I really like the fact that Flash Thompson, who is played by Tony Revolori, he looked like an actual kid instead of like a giant linebacker who happened to be in high school still. Like, and his like bullying of Peter felt way more like what an actual like kid bully would be, which is just like a jerk. He's just a big jerk. I liked also the fact that people, the kids in this movie actually cursed a little bit. Not a lot, but like Peter actually curses a little bit. It's like, and I think someone on Twitter was like, yeah, if I was like had superpowers as a teenager and had to go against adults trying to kill me, yeah, I would probably swear every once in a while too. That seems like a fair choice. But yeah, it was just really fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm really looking forward to whatever they do next. You want to talk spoilers now?
Yeah, let's do spoilers.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Spoilers. So Michael Keaton, who is the Vulture, is also Liz's dad. And I totally saw it coming. Because here's the thing. In the very first scene, it shows that right after the Avengers, he's showing a picture that his daughter made of all the Avengers, and he was saying something about how before it was like I would draw cowboys, and now like this is what my daughter, he doesn't even say daughter, so they keep it like, but like this is what the kids are drawing now, these are their heroes. And so that he has a kid.
God, car, why are you driving in the bike lane?
Because this person's bad at driving, apparently. And then later on, when the Peter's gotten this.
They're drunk. Oh, come on! Please don't turn where I'm turning.
Well, then go to another one, hun. If you don't want to follow this guy, then just go to another. Go to another street.
It's okay. I'm behind him.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Peter gets this like piece of their weaponry, and the guys follow the signal of this weaponry to the school, and so these goons are like, what would the boss say if he saw us here? We're not gonna tell him. We're just, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, why would he care if they go to school? Oh, maybe because his kid goes to that school. And there are only so many kids that were introduced to this, and there's only like one that Peter really, really, really cares about.
Flash Thompson.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally Flash Thompson's head. So, because it's for the homecoming, there's also this really cute part with Liz where Peter finally admits, like, after he totally skimped out on their like trivia event thing, because he was being Spider-Man, he apologizes to her and says, like, and it really, I even matter about this because I like you. And she goes, yeah, I know. And he goes, you do? And she's like, yeah, you're not a very good, you can't keep a secret, I can tell. And one, I really like this because she is mature enough to like, just talk about it, and the fact that that it's really cool that we see a kid, a teenager actually just come out and say, like, yeah, I like you, and not expect anything. Like, he was clearly not expecting anything in return. He just wanted to tell her, but she ends up not having a date, and he says, you want to go with me to the dance? And she says, yeah. And so again, he's super excited, and he's about to like go up to her house, and this is when I'm like, he's the dad, the Vulture's the dad, the Vulture's the dad, watch, he's gonna open the door. And of course, he's super excited, door opens, oh, evil Michael Keaton! And he's like, hi, you must be Peter, and he's like, woo! And then hilarity ensues and then there's that great scene where Liz is mentioning casually that like Peter was working with Tony Stark, but then he quit, and then she mentions like how he had bailed on all these things, including when she had, and she was like, yeah, he was at the party, but he was only there for like a few minutes, and it's like, oh, you mean that party where Spider-Man totally screwed over my plans, like really close to, really? Like, you see it in his head, and there's some really good acting from Michael Keaton as he's realizing, oh, this kid is clearly Spider-Man, because I recognize the voice, and also all this stuff lines up. And then there's the like, oh, Liz, you go in, sweetie, I'm gonna talk to Peter, give him the dad talk. And then Amelia's like, yeah, so I have a gun.
And you're Spider-Man. Does Liz know? And he's like, no, what? Yeah, so she clearly doesn't know. That's smart. Good. You keep it close to your chest. I'm not going to kill you, but only because you saved my daughter in DC, because at one point he saves her when they're on their field trip. But there's this great, like, God, Michael Keaton just knocks it out of the park in this, and you totally get it. Like, you see their house, they clearly have like in his mind, this is him just doing what he can to survive, because that asshole Tony Stark totally stole his contract and screwed everything up for them, right? Like,
you totally see why he's acting like this. But also, he's an arms dealer. Also, nothing he's doing is okay. And again, you totally get how he went from being like just this like ordinary salt of the earth guy into a supervillain. It's so good.
Even though he does just have a tech guy that's building the stuff for him.
Yeah. I'm double checking. So Donald Glover is in this, and we see him as sorry if it's shaking a lot. We see him as oh yeah, by the way, that guy is named the Tinkerer, which I'm assuming means that he actually has a counterpart, you know?
Yeah.
But let me see who else of note. Oh, by the way, the AI for Peter's suit, Karen, you know?
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly, who people might remember as the first Betty Braddock. Isn't that it? From Hulk. From the first Hulk movies. So like, hey, it's cool that she is definitely still around and doing stuff. Let's see. No, who was I gonna say? Oh, so, I'm looking for his title. I might have passed it. Sorry if it's taking a little bit. I think I missed it. Give me a second.
Principal you're going to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I was. Oh, no, but, yeah, I'm pretty sure I gotta double check, online, but I'm pretty sure Donald Glover's character, is actually, again, this is me being like 75% sure at this point. I'd have to.
Because you're reading into lines.
I'm reading into lines, but also he has a full name. So Donald Glover plays like this kind of crook criminal guy, but seems to be like fairly decent. Like he gets offered to sell these these guns, and he's like, okay, this seems super extreme. Why are you selling? Like, I was just looking to rob some, like, to hold up some places. I'm not looking to
blast someone back in time.
Yeah, blast someone back in time. I think he described it as, yeah. Let me see it. So Peter ends up actually helping him out because they're about to actually, the Vulture's guys are about to actually shoot him. And could you hold this for a second, hun? You talk.
For once, I get to hold the camera.
Hold it. You talk about that scene.
We're talking about which scene?
The scene with Donald Glover's character, and then like what happened after it.
The interrogation or the
well, we can talk about it. So.
Well, see, Donald Glover is a criminal, and he doesn't want to be like all, guns a-blazing with giant supernatural weapons.
All right. Yeah, sorry. So, yeah, this is totally what I thought. Ha 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 ha. Here, I'm taking it back. Sorry. So, all right, I needed to double check this before I said something stupid and then was wrong. So Peter Parker saves Miles Morales' uncle, basically. That is what happened. Donald Glover plays Miles Morales' uncle in this, which I totally guessed was what was happening when Peter goes back to him and interrogates him in a very funny scene where he basically has a Dark Knight voice. He's like, tell me what you know. And Donald Glover's character is like, dude, I totally heard your voice before. I know what you sound like. You don't sound like this. You usually sound like a girl. I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. I mean, I'm a man. Like, look, whatever, man. Just talk to me in a normal voice, because you are bad at this. But he says, Peter basically tells him, look, you know that these guns are a bad deal. They're gonna. You saw what they did. They're gonna hurt people. And he goes like, "Yeah, I guess."
I really like that sandwich shop.
Yeah. He's like, "You saw what they did to that one sandwich shop." He's like, "Oh, you mean the one? Yeah, that one."
That one was good. I like bread. And then he's
and like, "No, too much bread." Well, I like bread. And so he says like, "But come on, man, you know this is bad for like our area." And he goes like, "Yeah, I got a nephew around here. I don't want him to." So, and here's the thing, like, why would they mention the nephew thing? Unless, you know. So,
yeah.
There you go. It's my morale. So, but here's the thing. If they don't bring in Miles, here's the thing. Because Ned is based off of Miles's best friend in Miles's comics, right? And they have done this like little Easter eggy thing, which, okay, great. But if you don't put him in the movies, that would be a bullshitty thing to do, Marvel. It would. And I am of the opinion that you should totally be, like, this better be them trying to set up the idea of Miles in the MCU after they have like this better be a what, like tier 5 or whatever they're doing for for upcoming.
Well, okay, so what I do know about the next MCU movies is that you get Thor, and then you get into the Infinity Wars, and then after the next Infinity War, the first movie in the new chapter, which is basically anything after Thanos, oh god, what do we do now?
Yeah.
That's going to be the Spider-Man 2 is going to be the start of the new Chapter 2.
Yeah. And I'm not saying you need to bring in Miles for that. I'm just saying that, like, this should be something you're setting up. Seriously. You should be.
Maybe they are.
Maybe they are. I don't know. So, what else?
I really liked how in this movie, like, okay, so they are totally doing this thing where it's like, we're totally in the MCU. Look at all these MCU things we have. Like they did overload of that. But what they didn't do was like sort of like just do referential stuff. They actually did character building and world building stuff in this movie, which I really did enjoy.
Yeah. I will say the Steve Rogers videos was really great. I assume that this was done in between the Avengers and Winter Soldier, because like what else was he doing at that point? And I assume they're just like, just do it, just put it on. I love the fact that they put on the very, very old one, and they're just like, yeah, just do it. It's gonna be fun. And then I really love the fact that, and I'm double checking, the teachers, Hannibal Buress plays Coach Wilson, but in the middle of it, when they're talking, or when they're playing that video, and then he turns it off and he's like, all right, so technically this guy's a war criminal, but we have to keep playing this because it's
the only one we got.
It's the only one we got, and it's part of the law. So whatever.
And also, like, all of Hannibal Buress' scenes were hilarious.
They were really funny. They were really good.
Oh my god! Like when Captain America gestures to the to your gym coach.
Yeah. Or no. Like, yeah. I'm partnering. Everybody should have a partner, and I'm partnering with your teacher or whatever. I think it might be with teacher, but he points to the wrong side, and
Hannibal Buress is standing on the other side.
Like, I am zoned out of that. Spoilers too. That's what that second clip was. I totally thought it was going to be revealing Miles. I thought they would actually go there. So I'm going to talk about a few really, really good cameos that I thought were amazing. First of all, the principal, this is amazing. The principal is he's played by Kenneth Choi, who is an Asian American actor. And I thought he looked familiar. And then when one of the scenes, he's sitting in his principal's office, and you see you see like this very old military picture on the wall of someone that looks like him, and then like all these medals and stuff. And I was like, wait, is he supposed to be the descendant of the one of the
Howling Commandos.
of the Howling Commandos? Because that kind of looks like him. And then I looked it up, and Kenneth Choi was totally Morita from the Howling Commandos from the first Captain America movie. They got him in to play his own like great grandson, and that's amazing. I was like, oh my god, that's such a great little Easter egg. Like, that's so cool, and it's so cool that they got him back to do a role. And now we're gonna talk about what made me so happy in the after the climax fight scene, like, so like when everything's getting resolved. So Peter goes to Tony, and because Tony summons him basically into like their new area,
Avengers headquarters.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, we got this new suit for you. It's amazing.
He basically shows him the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah, the Iron Spider suit, and he says like, and I got a room full of reporters and photographers that want to meet you,
ready to show off the newest member of the Avengers.
Yeah, you're gonna be like a full Avenger. You're gonna live here. You're gonna be right next to Vision. It's cool. He just be aware he doesn't like really listen to like personal space stuff. He'll go through walls, but you'll be fine. You'll be cool. And then he goes like, yeah, Tony, I really appreciate it, but I think I need to be at home. I think I need to protect my own area. Like, I don't think I can be a full-time Avenger yet. I think I need to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And he's like, I think that's where I need to be. And Tony goes like, oh, okay. Then Peter starts to walk away, and he goes like, was this a test? He goes, yeah, of course it was a test. There's not really any reporters back there. And then as soon as Peter leaves, you see the door open, and there are a ton of reporters, which is funny in its own. And then Pepper fucking Potts, aka Gwyneth Paltrow, who I have been told by my friends who watch these superhero movies, they're never gonna bring Gwyneth Paltrow back. She's too expensive. She's too she's too difficult to work with, apparently. Or, like, they're not going, like, they already cut her out because, like, she's not dating Tony anymore. Well, guess what? Apparently they got back together at some point, because she comes storming and going like, what the hell, Tony? We got all this press together to bring in the kid. What's going on? And they're like, okay, Pepper, things have changed. So, we don't have any news. We don't have any new news. We gotta figure out some news. I don't know, Happy, do you still have the engagement ring? And Happy's like, oh, I've been holding on to this engagement ring since 2008.
See, when he said that, though, I kind of thought Tony was referring to something else, because Tony looked shocked that Happy had an engagement ring, I thought.
No, it's funny, because 2008 was the first movie.
Yeah, I know.
Before they got together. They got together in the second movie, Mike. He's had that since 2008. I think the joke is, we weren't together in 2008. How long have you been shipping us, Happy? So then she's just like, look, we'll figure it out. And then he throws him the engagement ring. So, yeah, here's the thing. I know there's some people who don't care about Pepper. I get it. Or, like, that find Gwyneth Paltrow frustrating, like, in real life, whatever. I am super pumped about this, okay? I really like the character. I really liked her, I really liked the character in the movies. I liked how Gwyneth Paltrow portrayed her. I know that it's not the most important thing about this movie, but it brought me so much joy in those last few minutes that, like, that alone stuck with me, and it made me really happy. It also, like, gave me the hope that Miles was gonna show up at the end, which is why I'm a little bummed out that he didn't. But I was just so happy that they didn't just shuffle that character off, that she's still around. That's so good for me. Like, I feel happy. I feel, if nothing else. Oh, and by the way, Zendaya is totally MJ. And it doesn't make any sense because her name's Michelle. So it's not Mary Jane. Like, she's not actually Mary Jane from what I can tell, unless it's like Michelle Watson in this, and then she goes by MJ Watson. I don't.
Maybe her middle name is something with a J.
I think they might just be trying to pull that thing that Dark Knight Rises did, where it's like, yeah, my name's actually Robin. I didn't tell anybody this. It makes no goddamn sense in the entire movie.
But then again, like her whole attitude thing is like that whole like sarcastic like I'm completely trying to mess with you sort of thing. Maybe that's sort of just like one because she like no one no one calls her MJ, but she goes, my friends call me MJ. And, like, they could be I think they are setting her up to be this series' MJ.
Yeah.
But they totally are just doing their own thing with her.
Yeah, I know, I totally agree.
Which I think is great, because she was fantastic.
No, she was super good. And to be quite fair, they're totally nerdy girls that end up being supermodels, so she could still be a model at some point in the future in this thing. But she was so funny, and I'm really excited to see her do more stuff. I'm a little sad that Liz is kind of getting shuffled off. I get why. But that being said, I really like the fact that the Vulture is not dead. Peter saves him, and that actually makes me happy, because I'm really tired of the MCU movies in particular just killing off every single villain. Because any of the ones that have even some sense of presence are killed off really quickly, and then it's like, oh well, now we can't use them again. And most comics don't do that. That's why you have decades of decades of like really specific characters, and it would be really nice if they did that more. So when I saw that he was actually just getting shuffled off to jail, that for me is a really smart choice.
Yeah, what I was really, really getting in the end, like the end climax fight, was vibes from that Green Goblin fight.
I was really worried that I was
really worried they were going to go the route of killing him, just like they did with the Green Goblin.
And they had this whole thing where, like, he's trying to steal what he came to steal, and Peter's like, no, it's going to explode, and it does. And then Peter ends up saving him, which is the reason why he doesn't give away Peter's identity at the end to what we think is the Scorpion, probably.
He's got a giant scorpion on his neck. It's kind of a giveaway.
It's kind of a giveaway. Also, there were two different shockers now. One of them dies, and the other one
dies rather comically too.
Yeah. There's a whole bit, and I'm assuming that must be a nod to the comics where there have been multiple guys. I'm assuming. I don't know the Spider-Man villains as well as other villains. But yeah, like. It was just a really good movie. There was a lot of fun stuff. We haven't even gone through like most of it. I feel like we've jumped around a lot. So there's still a lot to see. Oh, and I'll at least end with this. In terms of spoilers, the last moment before the credits, Aunt May totally finds out that Peter's Spider-Man.
Which is good.
It's good. No, it's something different. It's so annoying because a lot of times when Peter makes a choice about Aunt May, he does it without her knowledge in the comics. I think probably the most egregious is One More Day, if you know that story. It's pretty bad in terms of Aunt May actually having choices in what happens to her. But even in the other movies, like, it's always her being out of the loop. And I really like the fact that in this case, she will very much now be in the loop. What that means for future Spider-Man adventures, we'll have to see. But again, I really liked Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. I thought that she and Peter had like a really good relationship. And there were hints at the fact that she was a widow, just because, like, she went through a lot of shit. And there's a part when she gets really upset with Peter for basically ghosting her for, like, a whole day and, like, scaring the crap out of her. And And there's a real sense of like, yeah, she definitely lost someone, probably fairly recently.
I was talking with Josh, and Josh apparently found out through extended material, like, that's online and stuff about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they're doing something where Uncle Ben died during the Chitauri attack on New York.
Oh, they're not even... It's, like, way early then. Like, way before.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Uncle Ben
really?
died
Because
during...
it highly implied that she was going through stuff well before. I don't know. Maybe that's something that they thought about doing. Because I didn't get that sense at all.
They could totally change it because it's totally not in the movie now.
Yeah.
But apparently the intent is that, as of now, that Uncle Ben died during the New York attack on New York.
I'm a little skeptical about that. That seems like a long time before. So I can't think of anything else. Betty Brant is in this, but she has a really small role as Angourie Rice, who was in... we saw her in The Nice Guys, and she did a really good job, but she has kind of a small role here. I'm trying to think there's anything else that really stood out to me. Damage control was mentioned a lot, which I thought was interesting, because, like, we have barely heard about that in this, you know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I can't think of much, and I'm honestly getting pretty tired. So, it was really good, and I'm excited to see what they do with it coming up. I think that they have a really solid thing going with it, and yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen for Peter coming up.
I do know that Vincent D'Onofrio really wants to go up against Spider-Man.
I would love to see Kingpin actually, like, come back in some way. I know that the TV and the movie sides are so very separate, which kind of sucks for reasons like this. But yeah, it'd be really cool if that happened. All right, I'm exhausted. Are you ready to?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, go see this movie. It's great. It will make you laugh probably, and it feels like one of the best interpretations of the character that we've gotten so far. Also, they should bring in Miles, but that's just my opinion. All right, Katie and Mike. JustLearnSomething.com. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.